I am so excited, and this is a big moment because I have somebody here with me. Hey guys, I'm back from Huntington, and pardon my mess here. There's a lot going on in my shop this week. But yeah, I was at the ISA Juniors in Huntington, and I finally had the chance to talk to somebody from the ISA. Sadly, Fernando wasn't able to be there. He is recovering from a skateboard-related injury. He is in Argentina, from what we hear, recovering, so we wish him the best. But I had to talk with Bob Fasulo, and I finally had the chance to drill down and ask those questions that I've been wondering for so long. I've been wondering on what's going on, and we finally got some answers. With me, nobody other than Bob Fasulo from the ISA, and I've been waiting to ask and drill and personal questions and have a conversation with that everybody else has. And then let's just start from the bottom up. First, everybody was like, wow, El Salvador. It was not a 2020 announcement, it was for this year. Run us through a little bit here real quick. Where did that come from, and what was happening there?
Well, the reality is, Mike, we were talking to the leadership of El Salvador since May. And, you know, when you're dealing with a government and a government organization, things don't always move so quickly.
Yeah.
In some ways, we're very fortunate because, I don't know if you've seen, but the president of the country, the president of El Salvador, has been talking about surfing. He's been tweeting, talking about it in his official press conferences.
Yeah.
You know, when you have the leadership of the country behind you, and we reflected on, do we do it now or do we do it later?
Mm-hmm.
And why wait when we have this amazing opportunity? It is a location, I think everyone recognizes, that also is trying to use surfing and clearly SUP as a vehicle for driving tourism. Why wouldn't we take advantage of that?
Yes.
Opportunity was there, and we went for it.
Short notice, athletes, work transports, participation rates.
Okay.
Was that a concern in your
Yes,
decision-making process?
Absolutely. And we are concerned, and we are going to be rolling out some information to the athletes very shortly about what we're doing for the board transport. We have the government who is treating all boards as diplomatic shipments. So anything that comes through into El Salvador is going to get a diplomatic priority. We have a point of contact in the organizing committee who's directly working for the government of El Salvador, they've identified a shipper, a global shipping company that's providing discounted rates. We're going to be distributing all that information in the next few days to all the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's complicated to get boards into any country, and we know that.
Right.
And we made that a point with them from the very beginning. Guys, if it's going to be the short notice like we know there is, we're going to need your help. And we had Anthony Vela down there together with two of my team 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Talking with them, meeting with the government, and this is absolutely a priority for us.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's a very interesting point. That nobody of us knew that, I would believe. One thing that we were kind of talking with Connor in the previous interview is, since SUP and surfing kind of wanted to be married with one another, wouldn't there be an opportunity if you brought SUP onto your World Surfing Games, like in Japan or something like that, and on the lay days run races? Is that even something that comes up in you guys' meetings or thoughts?
No, partly because it's just not really practical. To be honest,
okay,
we're talking about a 9-day schedule in El Salvador now with both SUP and surfing, and we didn't actually even have a lay day in Japan, in Miyazaki. We had a half a day towards the end.
Okay.
So what, we would have people sitting, waiting, hoping that maybe there might be a break. It's just, you know, it's too unpredictable and too big event.
Yeah.
Whereas the other side of it is we want to make sure that we give the proper platform to highlight and showcase SUP on its own,
right,
for its own merits and for its own platform. So it's part of the reason why
Makes kind of sense.
we gravitated away from, you know, when you try and add everything on top, it becomes an event that's just too big and too unwieldy for one organizer to manage.
And maybe help us also a little bit understand the location seem to be most of the time rather exotic. Why wouldn't be able, or where is the challenge is that we can't have them like more in Europe or mainland USA? Australia wouldn't be a great venue. Why does it have to be like a country in somewhere? You know what I mean? And like it's already hard to get there. It's a crazy country. Why not here?
Yeah.
Or Sydney?
Yeah, well, we'd love to. We'd love to. I mean, we had Denmark, which was Europe and was a big success.
Everybody
in
loved it. It was
2017.
great.
We had Fiji in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it's always trying to find the right balance between an organizer who's willing to sustain and support the event the way it needs to be, because otherwise it's just not cost effective and not viable. So
Yeah.
it's a challenge to find. The reality is a challenge to find host organizations, and a lot of people don't realize that, you know, the ISA is not the big, well-funded organization they might think. You know, the reality is, even though we're in the Olympic Games, we don't benefit from Olympic funding, unlike all the other Olympic sports who receive a share of Olympic funding, including our friends from the Canoe Federation.
Even now with surfing being Olympic?
Even now.
Well, I was going to go somewhere else with that, but why is this?
It's a good question.
I mean, if skiing, snowboarding, tennis receives Olympic funding, why wouldn't surfing be? Because now they're in.
Yes, because we were considered a one-time inclusion at the request of the organizing committee. Now, if things go forward and go well with Paris, and we believe they will, and then you have a long-term view, the sort of conventional wisdom in the Olympic world is that opportunity will open up to us. But it's important for your readers and viewers to understand. The ICF received $15 million from the IOC, from the Olympic Games in Rio. 15 million.
Yeah,
and a lot of money.
So we're gonna have to talk a little bit about money, because yes, it's an expensive sport for athletes. It's expensive to put on an event. You guys, I assume you have number one Wisla is paying for this great event here. To some point, you're probably depending on government money, particularly if you're working with the president of El Salvador. You can't just go out and fund your own event and say like, yeah, let's have a big party for everyone and we'll just put it on wherever we can get a permit.
Exactly that. I mean, we're fortunate to have a great partner like Wisla here in the city of Huntington Beach, but I can tell you that, you know, it's hard to find sponsors.
Yeah.
The reality is, look at everybody's out there in the marketplace competing for the same sponsorship dollars, and it's hard to get someone to sign up to a title sponsor like Wisla. We're very fortunate for that.
Yes.
And every day we're out there with the very small means that we have at our disposal, trying to find partners and supporters, and that is effectively what the government of El Salvador has done. Has come in as the title sponsor of our event. And
runs the event, or funds the event. Yeah, so that's maybe something that we all should maybe remember, that surfing is more grassroots. It's not yet that big funded sport. And you brought it in. We have to talk about the ICF here for a moment, because I was just watching the webcast over the weekend, and SUP racers are getting wined and dined over there. Pretending there's going to be the Olympics, or pretending it is the Olympics. How much longer are we going to wait for this CAS thing?
Hopefully not too long. Hopefully not too long. I mean, we had the hearing a couple weeks ago. CAS is the right forum for that dispute to be heard. It's a forum that the entire Olympic movement agrees to go to when there's a dispute. We did our best. We tried to sit down, as we heard, from some of the athletes frustrated about why we couldn't find an agreement with ICF. We tried. We tried it with the help even of the Court of Arbitration that has a mediation division, and unfortunately there's too much at stake for us, and I think also for them. And you know, we believe that this is a question of culture and lifestyle, and who has really the interests of the athletes and the sport in their hearts, and that's only one organization. And, you know, I think you can offer all the financial incentives you want, but that doesn't. You can't buy your way into having a history, a culture, a tradition.
Yeah, no, you're right. And then the question is, let's see when the if question, it's going to swing one way or the other. What is it going to do to the sub-sport? What are the Olympics are going to do to the sub-sport? On that note, I want to bring in a quote that I had in an interview with Robbie Nash in my last interview, when I was asked, hey, look, how did the sport get transformed when the Olympics got into windsurfing? And he said right out of the gate, nothing. He said he didn't do nothing. Maybe for some athletes in Hong Kong or New Zealand it helped something, but for the greater international aspect, he wasn't too kind of
Yeah.
enthusiastic about it.
It's one point of view. I mean, I think you look at someone like Shaun White and look at what the Olympics has done to his brand.
Yeah.
And as a snowboarder,
Good
now
point.
he's trying to qualify as a skateboarder. Don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes, I saw. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that.
What it's done for him, the opportunity for the athletes to be on that platform, on that global platform with billions of viewers, is huge. So, if anything, and it's what we've always said, we're doing it not because we want to make the ISA bigger. We want to do it because we want to give the sport a greater platform, greater visibility. And the opportunity is for the athletes. I mean, you talk to these athletes and about the impact the Pan Am Games had on them.
Yeah.
That's a small glimpse of, and we really do believe that SUP is gaining in interest and attention inside the Olympic world. People are paying attention. And it's part of the reason why our friends in the Canoe Federation, from the moment that we were made an Olympic federation, an Olympic sport, decided that it was time for them to make a very aggressive move towards trying to establish their control over this sport, because this is very much about them trying to defend their position on the Olympic program.
And of course, property funding too. Add another sport, get more funding, maybe.
Here's a little fact that many of your viewers probably don't know. More than 90% of the budget of the International Canoe Federation comes from the IOC. So of course, if their position on the program. Well, I don't know so much about more money, but it's protecting that. You know,
Gotcha.
If 90% of your budget comes from one source, you know, that's, for us, we have 6 or 7 different sources that are, and the largest single source of revenue for us is these events. If we didn't have our events, also including the one in El Salvador, the ISA wouldn't be able to sustain itself. But we're a self-funded organization. We're not funded by one single entity.
Funded by associations, members, and entry fees. So thank you so much. Let's leave it at that, guys. And maybe for my little 5 cents here, maybe just look down into your heart and ask yourself, do you want to be a canoe sport or do you want to be a surf sport? And then maybe that will answer your question for yourself. Thank you so much. I'm so stoked and I can't wait to hear what everybody else is thinking about it. Aloha.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you.